Touch it, read it, learn it, teach it, everybody talk about it. Touch it, read it, learn it, teach it, everybody talk about it. Touch it, read it, learn it, teach it, everybody talk about it. Talk about it. Great day. This is Mr. McCray coming your way with another installment of Math Mentoring. For today, we're going to be doing our homework recap for marking period 1, week 5. Remember, this was an odd week. We had Mr. McCray go away on Thursday. On Friday, you guys had Superintendent's Day, so we effectively had only 3 days in order to get material in. So, with that said, let's jump back into the recap. All right, on Monday, we were given a question. What is the domain of this function? Okay, things to remember. The word domain. What does domain mean? It means the input or the x values of a function. So if I'm considering this pH graph, my x values start at 4 and it ends at 13. Consider our first step. Remember, y value, output or range. X value, input or domain. So what is the x values of the function? Consider step 2. We can eliminate a few things. Choice 2 and choice 4 all deal with y values. Yet, choice 1 has an x value, but it also has a range of 4 to 13. So 1 would be the most correct answer for our first question. Number 1 is what we're going with. All right, let's reset. Let's consider second question. Make a table and a graph of the function negative x or negative 2 parentheses x plus 2 plus 1. Consider our first step. We want to put that function into our y editor. Consider our second step. We want to analyze the xy table, but we want to remember we need two points in order to, anytime we plot a linear function. What 2 points should you plot? Well, I'm glad you asked. I recommend you always start with a y or x intercept, and then another fairly easy point. In this case, I'm suggesting you go with negative 2, comma 1, which is this point right here, or our y-intercept, 0, comma negative 3. Okay? Easy peasy. Let's consider day 2, Tuesday's question. Data collected during an experiment shown in the accompanying graph. So what does this graph tell us? It tells us we're interested in our range, and we know that range is going to start on the y-axis and go from 0 to 100. Consider step 1. What are the y values for this function? Well, we know our y values are our output or our ranges. Consider step 2. We can eliminate choice 2 and choice 4. Why? Because they both have to deal with our x values. We don't care about our x values, but we do care about the y values. Consider choice 3. Choice 3 is the most correct because its y values are between 0 and 100. So it is not choice 1, that's wrong, but rather choice 3. Choice 3 is the question, or is it the solution that's most correct, going between 0 and 100. Let's consider our next question. We're asked to make a table and graph of this quadratic function. Everybody say quadratic. Now we know with quadratic functions, we're either going to have a upside down smiley face or a right side up smiley face. Consider step 1. Plug the function into our graphing calculator. Consider step 2. Analyze the XY table. Remember, you need 3 to 5 points for a nonlinear function, and we want to look for points where the y values represent either the max or the min. So in this case, we have a minimum value that we're looking at, and specifically this minimum value is where our y's are the smallest. Here we see a -4. -4 would be our smallest y value. So that coordinate that we would identify for that would be 1, -4. Finally, consider step 3. We're going to choose a minimum value of 1, -4. And we're also going to choose mirror values of -2, 5 and 4, 5. Now let's talk about these cousin values or mirror values as sometimes I refer to them. These values look similar, but they're not the same. They're not the same because the x values are different, but the y values are the same. All right, so sometimes we say that they're cousins because sometimes in your family, you look similar to your cousins, but you don't look identical. Okay, let's clear this out. Let's get ready for our next question. Actually, I want to keep this under 10 minutes, so when we come back, we will talk about questions from Wednesday. Okay. All right. All right, Mr. McCray is asking you to pause the video, rewind the video, internalize the video so that you can master the skill. Every time I share or text or talk to parents, I always tell them the same thing. Your kid will pass the Regents the first time. Your kid will get an A or B in my course if they will do the following. 30 minutes of study a day keeps bad grades away.